Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and this is our weekly TV news episode. And much like last week, it is a quieter news week. I guess this is just the calm. After the pilot season, before the upfronts, we're in that little period where
Mm.
there's just not as much. So it ain't going to be a long show this week again. But there's some stuff here. We got some interesting things to potentially talk about. Well, at least one bit of news I'm excited about. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
fun. So we talk about the news, obviously. We also pick our favourite episode of TV at the end of the show, which also right now we're in a weird space where there's very little actually on in terms of new shows week to week that we can actually pick from, which is actually very different from last year. Last year I remember February, March being stacked, whereas this
Yeah,
year
it's
everything get
shifted a little bit
pushed.
later to
Yeah.
April.
Whereas April, May is going to be busy as hell. We're going to have a fight
Mm.
in our hands.
Last year we had what? Expanse, Saul.
No, Saul wasn't start till April last year.
Not in April.
Yeah, because
Okay.
now Saul's the even later one because Saul's not in April this year.
I'm,
And
I'm,
this,
I'm just thinking because things that they all overlapped around that time. Even come April, like Expanse was still running just about maybe.
yeah, Expanse was probably just finishing its run then, but Expanse was on February, and I think Handmaid's Tale was March, so they all kind of
Yeah. The kind of that overlap started around this time of year, didn't it?
yeah. Whereas this February, well, it's not February anymore, but all of February was just kind of like, oh, Dad, you had your one Netflix show, and
Yeah,
that's it.
maybe something else here or there.
Yeah, that's it. Ashby's Evil Dead's back on. Me and Tim are reviewing that, and I quite enjoyed that first episode back last weekend.
Good,
So
good.
yeah, uh, but actually, there's a scene that you'd quite enjoy. There was a entire fight with a deadite that took place in the music classroom of a high school, and let's just say many an instrument was used in creative fashion. I particularly enjoyed the way a harp was used to kill something. So, so I can
I approve.
check.
Without even having seen it, I know I approve.
So, yeah, let's dig into the news then. Let's talk about. So, quick things first. Starting off with the exciting good news, we have a renewal for something.
Okay.
We are officially getting season 3 of Travelers.
Oh,
Uh,
thank God.
it has been renewed. Same time period as where we're used to. Where it'll be on fall in Canada, and then it'll hit Netflix outside of Canada right at the end of the year. So same system again. I am happy. We got a big cliffhanger in season 2. I enjoyed that show a lot. So obviously I'm pleased that
Oh,
we're
this is
getting
good.
more.
I've been, spreading this around, telling people to watch it, and a friend of mine watched all the season, both seasons, all the
Yeah.
episodes, the last like week or two, and just like 2 days ago, came to me going, "Hey, any word on a season 3 yet?"
What's really funny though is that actually here's how I found this out because this was not in my regular news sources, right? So it's just lucky I noticed this. I noticed in fact yesterday that bizarrely a lot of our travellers reviews were having more traffic, right? And I thought that's
Yeah.
weird. Why is travellers suddenly a hot topic? Has it been renewed? And I went googling, and yeah, like even the stories I found, which were on like spoilertv.com and stuff, it was like, oh, Showcase has quietly announced of renewed Travelers, but Variety and Deadline, no mention of it.
Yeah.
So
Well, I was like, it's like 2, maybe 3 days ago, I searched for, has it been renewed yet? Because obviously
yeah,
my friend asked. I was like, I'll go check, and there was nothing there then.
nah, it
So
was very quiet March 1st, but I am very glad it's back and uh, yeah, and then announced it was the last one. It specifically said it's open for more afterwards as well. So we'll see. Uh, the only thing is though is that's now 2 seasons they've ended on cliffhangers. I really hope they know when they're ending it so they can not do that.
yeah. I
But
think they
hey.
will. I think they're typically a bit safer than a typical network show because of that Netflix buffer.
Oh, sure. And I mean, I have no idea what sort of success that Showcase in Canada needs to, on top of the Netflix deal to what it keep it
Right,
going.
it might be performing well enough even without the Netflix deal for
It's
all we know.
a different market, I
Yeah.
have no idea how to analyze it. But so good news. Also renewed this week. Now this is one we don't cover, but we've had enough people ask us to cover it that I know at least enough people will be watching this that will care about it.
I think I know what this might be.
Yeah, The Magicians has been renewed for season 4 at Sci-Fi. So I know we have people who are fans of that. And I'm never going to say never, but we have had multiple people ask us, could you cover The Magicians? And we're at a point now where there's 3 whole seasons of it, which is why we've not covered it because we'd have to catch up in 3 whole seasons.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we're about to hit the busy period, so the chances of it happening anytime soon are not likely. but never say never, especially if more people keep asking us to. I'll never rule it out completely.
Yeah, maybe eventually.
There's always a chance. But yeah, so that's been renewed. So I know that would please people. So that's the thing. All right. Now, next up, there's a trailer that I forgot to tell Conor to watch. So I will just briefly, I'll just briefly mention it.
Thanks. This is not on me for once.
It's not on you. I just forgot there was a trailer to watch. Yellowstone, which is the Paramount Network. Kevin Costner's in it, and it seems to be a sort of crime thriller about like a ranch. There's a lot of ranching going on, and it's just very serious, very dark trailer. Lots of like heavy monologues about life on a ranch and criminal activity, and it looks very stylized. It looks like it's just from the writer of Hell or High Water, which is like
I like that movie a lot.
There's some talent behind it. That's cool. But the subject, I just like.
Look, again, having not seen it, just the way you said it sounds like it's trying too hard.
There's nothing about this subject that remotely makes me think it could be. I mean, it could be great. Like the writing and director could be so phenomenal. It doesn't matter what the subject is. That time and time again we've said that's a possibility. I don't care about lawyer shows, but Better Call Saul's fantastic. It's just down to the core writing and directing quality, and obviously the acting and everything else. But the point is quality. And this could be that, but nothing about this trailer was making me want to watch it. It was just, yeah, I don't care about shady things going on at a ranch.
So basically, if this is premiering in April, it's probably getting skipped.
Nah, it was like June or July, I think.
Okay, well, we'll see how we're doing then, shall we?
Yeah, it may be a quiet period, so we'll see. But hey, next up, bit of kind of. Obviously, this is a serious topic that's led to this news story happening. But speaking of Paramount Network, their adaptation of Heathers, their TV show, has been delayed. It's been pushed. It was meant to premiere on March 7th, obviously coming up quite soon. So it was so soon, in fact, that all the review sites had all got the first 5 episodes for review. They'd had review copies sent out.
Yeah, and the embargo had been lifted. They were already publishing them.
And some of them actually hadn't published them already. And like, because I read at the start of one that said, we decided to put these out because they were still like it's still kind of relevant, even though it's not going to air now for months. We don't even know. There's no new date. We just know it's going to be later this year sometime. But the reason for this is actually the Parkland shooting. That is actually why they've pushed it. I'll read the exact wording here for what they say. Yeah. So the satirical comedy takes creative risks in dealing with many of society's most challenging subjects, ranging from personal identity to race and social economic status to gun violence. So they've made the choice to push it in light of the recent events, which, yeah, can't fault.
I can't fault it. A cynical part of me goes, right, well, we're never seeing this then, because there'll always be something that they'll have to push it for.
That's really cynical. That's not even. But this will be bad cynical. That's just the world's that shitty cynical.
I know. Well, I'm feeling pretty cynical lately.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah. It's probably the right move. I mean, obviously, I've not seen the material. I can't say.
Yeah.
I do think it's really sad though that this just happened to Punisher a few months ago.
Yeah. It happened to. I remember Mr. Robot, the first season.
And I can't believe I'm about to do this, but hold on, glasses are up. It happened to the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Did it actually?
It did. Season 3's episode Earshot. They pushed that. That was, that they actually ended up airing that. I think I want to say a week before the season 4 premiere. They didn't show it with the rest of season 3. They waited because it was Columbine happened.
Yeah.
Back before it was this frequent. That's the big one everyone remembers the name of because it was the big first huge one, and they had to push the episode because there was part of the plot was a character was maybe going to shoot someone at school, and it was like, well,
I recall the episode.
It's a very good episode, but I mean, obviously, again, they made the right choice given the subject.
Yeah, and I remember saying it with Mr. Robot. They made the right choice, especially that was very accurate to what had happened just that week. So obviously they pushed it. If I recall, on the TV presenter.
Yeah. No, there was So, unfortunately, this is a trend that, what is there to say?
I think it's why I'm so cynical because this isn't the first time that this has happened. It's not going to be the last.
Yeah, that just feels like a really dark, pessimistic thing to say, even if it's true.
It does. It does.
Even if it's true, I don't think that's worth saying out loud. It just feels, well, it's worth saying because this is getting into a whole thing. I'm not saying you shouldn't say it, because you should say it because there should be ways to prevent it, and we should be talking about the ways to prevent it. But what I'm saying is just sitting there and saying, "Oh, it'll happen again," as if there's nothing we can do about it, is also something you shouldn't be saying. I'm not getting this point across clearly.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah. You're saying we should talk about it and open the debate, but maybe go, well, what can we do, rather than there's nothing we can do.
Ultimately, what I'm really trying to say here is this is a really serious real-world issue, and I don't want to talk about it on my goofy news show where we make fun of TV things.
Yeah, we've done real-world issues before, and it always drags us down.
It does, but I feel like the other ones are more connected to the actual industry, whereas this is just completely separate and just happens to be something that's so awful. And it just happens to be that in stories you tell stories that might just happen to relate to things that happen in real life, and you have to kind of react to that. On a more TV quality side of this, every single review and headline I've glanced at about this show is said that it's a complete and utter train wreck and a complete garbage mess, which, yeah.
Not entirely surprising. The morbid curiosity part of me wants to see it anyway, because I love Heathers, the movie. Because
apparently it's everything it tries to tackle and be progressive actually ends up being really ill conceived.
Just offensive.
Yeah. So it sounds like a train wreck. So hey ho. I think the most optimistic thing I read.
It sounds like a train wreck that I want to watch, and not just a boring train wreck.
The most optimistic thing I think I saw from any of the reviews was maybe the last 5 episodes are better. That was like the most positive comment I saw on it. So so there you go. So let's move on. Do you remember that Snowpiercer lost its showrunner?
I did, and I have actually seen this piece of news already.
You have? Okay. Yeah. Well, they've got a new showrunner. Graham Manson is now the new showrunner. And who's Graham Manson? Because I didn't know the name either, if I'm honest. I'd never heard of him. However, I have seen at least season 1 of his show that he's known for. He is the co-creator of Orphan Black. And he is going to be... he's going to be taking over this. There's not much more. That's the whole story. But I have seen season 1 of Orphan Black. It was a pretty good show. It's one of those things, that and Person of Interest, which I'm halfway through the entire show, just because we do so much TV, I've just, ever since we ramped up our schedule more, I've just like not had time to watch any TV like that on my own.
Yeah, I'm the same, very rarely.
Which is basically why eventually it's like when we have time for like another like classic show, it's like, okay, what's something I never finished? We'll do one of those so I can finally get through it. Is basically the thinking.
That's true. I've never actually watched any of Orphan Black, but I've heard so many good things that obviously this is clearly something that I think is a strong move.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, admittedly, I think a big part of the appeal of Orphan Black is Tatiana Maslany playing like 5 versions of herself, and it's really like that is the real draw of that show. But certainly, I can't fault this choice. And we'll see how that shapes out. But so you remember the Bad Boys spin-off?
Yes,
with
I do.
Gabrielle Union's character from the second movie. Well, we have another bit of casting. Her co-lead, I suppose. They're not actually. Yeah, they're saying opposite, so I guess they're saying co-lead. She has a partner, so there's 2 of them.
Still not called it Bad Girls yet, have they?
They're not calling it Bad Girls, but they very well could. And it's a name. You'll know this name. Jessica Alba has been cast in the Bad Boys spin-off.
Okay.
So you get Jessica Alba and Gabrielle Union.
When was the last time she was on TV?
Well, she's in movies for a long time, hasn't she? So
yeah.
I mean, she started with Dark Angel.
Yeah, obviously, but that's what I can't. It's been a long time since that, obviously.
Well, she's done a lot of movies, I guess. Union's really stars Sid Burnett, her character from the second movie. She's left the DEA for a fresh start as an LAPD detective. So I'll say that again. I just kind of steamrolled through that acronym. LAPD. I went LAPD. Just really quickly.
Yes.
LAPD detective. Yes, I know. What can I say? So Alba's going to play Nancy McKenna, Burnett's partner. McKenna joined the army out of high school and spent most of the 2000s in Iraq and Afghanistan. Women aren't allowed in combat, so she joined the military police to get closer to the action. McKenna is now a detective, raising 2 preteen stepkids with her husband. I'm glad they said preteen, but even that makes me feel a little bit old that Jessica Alba is now like a mum on a TV show, because like when I was a teenager, she was the hot actress that everyone liked.
Yeah, I know.
Not necessarily for acting ability, but she was the hot actress that everyone had,
Yeah, exactly.
images of and stuff. And I'm like, well, now she's the mum of like almost teenagers. What?
There's still posters of her up in my workplace.
Really?
Yeah. Down in the warehouse. There's just some of the old posters that they're up at the back.
Yeah. So hey, so that made me feel just a little bit old, but not as old as her, but a little bit old. So no, so I mean, I guess I don't know what I guess I never mentioned before, but I guess I'm not remotely surprised that it is going to end up being like a buddy cop thing. It's instead of boys, it's girls. And
I think that's what I was always assuming, but
yeah, it just never occurred. I guess because it was her, I kind of expected her to still be doing something, I don't know, slightly different. But no, it's actually just going to be they're buddy cops, and instead of Miami, it's LA.
yeah.
And it makes me wonder, like, because her character was fairly straight in the movie. She wasn't like... Because Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, like, Will Smith was the really suave one, and Martin Lawrence was the really sort of over-the-top goofy one who always overreacted to everything, right? And that's where the comedy came from. And her character was very straight. I feel like Alba's character has to be a bit more something, right? She has... Not necessarily goofy, but if they're just both playing it straight, it's just a straight buddy cop show. Bad Boys worked because those two characters were funny and wacky.
But I don't know if I really see Alba in that role necessarily.
No, I agree. I don't necessarily see her in that role, but I feel like she has to be. Otherwise, what is this show? Is it just complete? If it's played completely straight, then it's not a Bad Boys spin-off.
No, I agree.
If it's played completely straight, it's just a cop show.
A cop show with the name.
Yeah. I mean, maybe they'll say that Gabrielle Union's become a bit more something, and it's been like 15 years. Oh.
Yeah.
When did the Bad Boys 2 come out? 2003? Oh, it's been 15 years. Shit.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, you were right for once.
Yeah, I was. So that was a ballpark figure, and I thought
it is. I feel like whenever we ballpark these things, we're usually just completely wrong because we forget how time works.
Mm-hmm.
And this time, your random ballpark just happened to be right.
15 years ago, that was exactly when I was talking about when everyone was into Jessica Alba in 2003.
It wasn't it?
Around that time period, yeah. So there you go. So it's going to be Jessica Alba and Gabrielle Union as bad girls, or whatever they're going to call it.
I don't know if I want to watch this show, but I feel like we need to check out the pilot.
Oh, the pilot's happening. There's no way I'm not watching the pilot of this. I need to see this. Part of me hopes it's like really bad in a good way. Like they actually just give the personalities of Martin Lawrence and Will Smith to these two,
just run with it,
and they just play it out. Yeah, I don't know which one's which. Like I think they could both be the Will Smith. I don't see which either one of them could be the Martin Lawrence, but
no, I don't
we'll
either.
See.
Hey, maybe one of them will have fun playing against type.
Who's the Joey Pants? Who's the captain who's like really angry all the time? We need that character. Oh man, who's that? Who could that be? I don't know, but that's the thing. Suggestions in the comments. I look forward to suggestions to who could be the Joey Pants of
fan cast away.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they have to have personalities that are like Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, but they have to have something that makes the show, because that's what made those movies, with those characters.
Oh, absolutely.
Like without those characters being the way they were, those were boring action movies.
Yeah, they're just generic cop movies.
Yeah, I mean the second one, which I've not seen either of them in a long time. The second one I remember being better because the action was also kind of over the top, but it still would have been not enough without those two being those characters.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what makes those movies. So that's what I'm saying. If the show wants to succeed as a Bad Boys spin-off, it has to have characters that are really likable and really witty in some way, even if it's not like those characters specifically.
Yeah,
anyway,
they've got to have a fun.
Stranger Things Season 3 is doing some casting. I should say it's Stranger Things 3, which is they're probably going to call it. So they've got Maya Hawke has been cast as a lead in Season 3, so we've got a new lead character, or I should say regular character, is probably the correct phrasing. They've said lead though, which is why I kept saying it. And they've also upped Priya Ferguson to a recurring role. Who is Priya Ferguson, you might ask?
I do ask.
Yeah, you're like, so who could we have that's going to be around more? How about Lucas's little sister?
Oh yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, little Erica. The scene stealer returns in the next installment with an army of her own friends. No longer content with sitting in the sidelines, Erica finds herself on a wild mission to save Hawkins from a dangerous new threat. So her and her little buddies are the new younger crew who are going to be doing something.
I'm so down for that.
I'm in. I'm so in. And Joe, I can't wait. I hope they're doing their own thing all season. They've got their own little subplot. I mean, it'll probably be small compared to the other plots, but I hope they've got their own little subplot, and it's like it connects to the overall plot. And then eventually, when we get to that last few episodes, where her team meets up with the main team of kids, and like Lucas is like, "What the hell are you doing, sis?" Like, he gets all protective. I can't wait for her to badmouth him and like embarrass him in front of all of his friends. It's going to be glorious. I can't wait.
I can't wait for her to talk down to him in front of Max.
Oh god, that'll be great. And then Max and her are going to get on so well.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be great.
This stuff writes itself.
It does. And then Maya Hawke is going to play an alternative girl bored with her mundane day job. She seeks excitement in her life and gets more than she bargained for when she uncovers a dark secret in Hawkins. So I feel like she's going to be someone who's maybe separate from the group, who stumbles on to the whatever's going on.
Yeah, she definitely sounds more, the Nancy Steve age.
Oh, she does, yeah. She's got a job.
Yeah. So maybe if she does tie in, it'll be through them. That said,
by the time they're shooting this, funnily enough, a lot of the kids who are the younger kids, some of them will actually be the Nancy Steve age, in terms of what they're supposed to be, not what they actually are, the actors.
Yeah, of course.
Because I think, because a few of them are 16, not all of them, but there's a couple of them who were 16 when Season 2 came out. And
okay.
I was almost surprised. I'm like, man, my Hollywood has warped my brain as to what I think a 16-year-old looks like.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I was 16 at one point. I know what all the 16-year-olds look like at the time, but you tell me that Max is 16, 15, 16, and I'm like, nah, she's more like 14, right? 13, 14?
13, 14, yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. But nah, that's just... I mean, obviously, they do their best to make them look younger as well.
Yeah, some make-up-y tricks.
Yeah. More acne or less acne. I mean, I guess at 13 to 16 it's all acne, but
yeah,
regardless.
Exactly.
Acne is suitable for all those ages, but regardless. So that's the Stranger Things news. Next up, onto some new shows to talk about. So we have Netflix doing a serialized animated adventure comedy based on a best-selling book series from Max Brawler called The Last Kids on Earth. And The Last Kids on Earth follows 13-year-old Jack Sullivan and a band of suburban middle schoolers who live in a decked-out treehouse, play video games, gorge themselves on candy, and battle zombies in the aftermath of the monster apocalypse.
I can get down with that life.
It's a hilarious series filled with wisecracking kids, crazy gadgets, a lifetime supply of zombies, and giant-sized monsters. And it's going to be on Netflix in 2019. So, yeah, you got a cartoon. It sounds very Stranger Things at first. You get kids, treehouse, and then it's like, it's the post-apocalypse, and there's zombies and monsters. I'm like, okay, alright, it's doing its own thing.
Fun. Sounds pretty fun.
Doing its own thing. I mean, obviously it's based on that book, so the book obviously had all this first, but still. There you go. So that's something Netflix are working on. More original content. I never actually looked into it, but I did see a headline this week that apparently Netflix's original series for 2018 is going to maybe hit 700, which I think is an insane number.
Wow.
I think that has to be including all those stand-up specials and movies. Like, I think it's just original content, 700 titles.
Still an insane amount, even including stand-ups and. I think the real question is, does that include things that they license for other countries? Like how we talk about Travelers, how Netflix consider that a Netflix original.
I don't know. I don't know if it counts that. It will definitely count stuff they make in other languages, though. Like 3% counts. Which when's season 2 of that? It's been a while since season 1.
I'm waiting on that.
Yeah, they got renewed, so we'll see when that
it's
lands.
coming at some point.
OA as well, actually.
Yeah.
But hey, so next up, ABC has made a late pilot order. Yeah, we got a pilot order this week. Yeah. For a comedy called Man of the House, starring, and I already did this earlier, but I'll do it again, Alison Hannigan, who played Willow on the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I guess I can't give you shit when it's that easy.
It is a multi-camera hybrid series that will follow two recently divorced sisters who decide to move in together and raise their kids under one roof. The oldest kid and only son is left to figure out what manhood means when he's in a world where he's now completely surrounded by females. Hannigan will portray Jessie, described as a caring social worker who was shocked when her husband left her. With nowhere else to turn and against her better judgment, she moves her teenage football star son and preteen daughter into the home of her narcissistic narcissistic, ball-busting sister Charlie and her even more wicked daughter. So, again, someone who was like playing a teenager when I was younger now has teenage kids on a TV show. Just to rub that in a little bit. To be fair, when she was playing a teenager, I was like 10, 11, but still.
Well, not bad.
Yeah.
It's no Jessica Alba situation.
Yeah. So...
I don't know. I get it. I see where the comedy's come from. The clash of styles between the two sisters. You know, the sweet and the angsty. Yeah, okay.
It's a fine premise. I don't. Yeah, it doesn't excite me, but
it sounds very standard. But you know, that's not a bad thing necessarily.
So, family in a house sitcom. They've just got a different setup. It's kind of like how Fox have the buddy cops, but one's of this. It's like, oh, it's a family comedy, but it's two sisters and their kids. And
it's the clash of culture.
And not a couple, yeah. Next up, Apple has ordered a series
bloody
from
have.
M. Night Shyamalan.
Okay.
And TV writer Tony Basgallop, if I'm saying that right. And it's a 10-episode, half-hour psychological thriller. It's got a straight-to-series order. So it's interesting it's a half-hour psychological thriller. I think that's an interesting mix.
It is. Not combinations you hear very often.
Yeah, no plot details of yet, but obviously the names were notable enough, and obviously it's Apple ordering yet another
throwing
series.
more money around.
Yeah, so that's what they've got, like maybe at least
five or six at a minimum.
I think it's at least 8 at this point, because they've got like 4 from Reese Witherspoon alone.
Oh, you're right, they do. I forgot about that whole deal.
Yeah, and then they've got Amazing Stories, which Brian Fuller left. They've got this one, and I'm sure there's been another couple that I'm blanking on.
I mean, if you take the 4 from Reese Witherspoon plus Amazing Stories and this, that's 6 already.
Yeah, but there's been at least another couple that I can't tell you the name of.
More than that, yeah.
So there you go. That's yet another Apple series. And speaking of Reese Witherspoon, actually, that was a very neat segue. Her and Kerry Washington are teaming up to produce Little Fires Everywhere. They're shopping it around. It's a limited series based on Celeste. Oh, this name's come up before because I've questioned how to pronounce this last name. It's just N&G, the last name.
I feel like we had this on this show like 2 weeks ago.
Not Little Fires Everywhere.
No, but that name.
Oh, the name. Yes, what I'm saying. The name was recent. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember how the answer was though, but I remember we sussed it out at the time, but I don't remember what it was.
Did we look it up?
I think we did, or that, or someone told us in the comments, and then I knew from then.
Yeah, I don't remember anyone telling us. I don't remember ever sussing it out. I remember it being a mystery, and it will remain the elusive name that shall not be pronounced.
Yes.
So book Little Fires Everywhere. The project is coming from Witherspoon's Hello Sunshine, which is the same, Apple deal with like 4 shows already in the works. So she's also going to star in it as well.
Okay.
Both of them, that is, Witherspoon and Washington will both star in it. The book, which landed on multiple bestseller lists in 2017, so it's a recent book, traces the fallout of a suburban Ohio community when a single mother and her daughter move into town and custody battle erupts over a Chinese-American baby. So it's a very vague description of the plot there. Definitely, we're getting drama vibes from that.
Oh,
I'm not inherently excited by this.
Me either. Maybe it'll be good, don't get me wrong, but nothing about it makes me go, oh, I need to watch that.
Yeah, obviously you've got your big names. I think that's the big selling point. I think that's, like, they're shopping it around. ABC, Signature Studios are involved, so I mean, maybe the first place it'll go is ABC. Then again, though, I don't necessarily associate limited series with the main network, so maybe...
No, they dabble here or there, but it's not my first thoughts.
No, could put it on the summer, I suppose, but still, it feels like it's maybe going to be more of a prestige-sounding show.
It does, doesn't it?
Especially since Witherspoon had that big success with Big Little Lies, which was supposed to be limited, but then got renewed for a season 2, so now it's not limited.
Yeah. And
I'm still expecting The Night Of to get a season 2 at some point, even though it was a standalone thing.
Yeah, exactly. I can see it.
Although I expect that one to be more of an anthology, whereas Big Little Lies, I believe, is actually continuing
10
the
characters.
characters. Yeah.
Okay.
Bringing people back. Well, there's been a lot of stories in the last couple of weeks of so-and-so's back for season 2, so...
Right, okay.
So unless they're doing the thing where they're all playing different characters for a laugh...
yeah, you never know.
I believe that's the case. Which does take us on to our final news story of the week, when it's actually an old news story, because Connor pointed this one out. This did not show up in my searching last week. and this is but it's got some notable names attached to it, so it's worth mentioning. So, given it's a light week, why not add it on to the show? So, Vikings creator Michael Hurst and Martin Scorsese, which this article says Goodfellas director, but you know what? I'm not going to insult your intelligence. Martin Scorsese, you know, who
he is.
Yes. So, in an interview with The Guardian, they revealed that they're working on a show called The Caesars. It's a Rome TV show, a TV drama, and obviously there's no word right now about what network it's on, so this will be something they're going to shop around, but it is intended to last several seasons. It's not a limited series. There's also no word if Scorsese will necessarily actually step in and direct any episodes.
It might be a case of a pilot director.
Yeah, I can see that being the case. I don't think he'll stick around. He'll have the executive producer credit on the whole thing.
Yeah, do a pilot and establish your style. Yeah. That's typically how these things go.
Yeah, but apparently the outline for the first season's been completed. Hurst has actually written the pilot already, and film is expected to start sometime next year in Italy. So this will be 2020 at the earliest before you see it. But yeah, like I said, no word on what platform it'll be on, so a network of streaming. It sounds like it'll be an expensive show, so I expect it on either a streaming or a cable network. I don't expect it on...
I'd agree with that, yeah.
As far as being excited, the subject of ancient Rome doesn't excite me on its own.
That's fair. It doesn't necessarily grab me, but I have been watching Vikings very slowly, admittedly, when I get a chance to squeeze in an episode here or there with a girlfriend. We actually just finished season 1 earlier today.
Oh yeah, look at you go.
And it's taken us about 3 months to get through 9 episodes. That's how little time I have to watch TV. That's not for this. But no, I'm enjoying that a lot. Maybe the quality tanks. There's 5 seasons after all. And I've done 1. Well, but so far it's pretty good.
I've not seen anything from this guy, so maybe like he's just a good writer, and that'll be what sells us. And obviously Scorsese can direct pretty well.
Yeah, and obviously he's at least putting his name on it, which is a mark of at least the expectations.
Sure.
Usually, and it doesn't always pay off, but usually when someone says, "No, I believe in this," to put my name on it from this early on. Yeah, okay. There's at least something there that you're seeing.
Yeah. I think my expectation is just something like Spartacus, where I'm just not that interested at all.
That's fair. That's another one of those shows for me that I want to check it out at some point. But
I'll take the surprise if it ends up looking good and it ends up like getting some praise.
I
say praise. Given us, we'll do the pilot without seeing what other people think because it'll be fresh. But
yeah, I mean, I appreciate that they're shooting it in Italy. Which I feel like a lot of these, no need to.
That's the
news.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. So at this point of the show, we typically pick our favourite episode of TV of the week. However, of course, it has been a quiet again week. We only really had Channel Zero. We did a couple episodes of The Tick, which we're taking longer to get through The Tick than more than normal. We also did the first episode of 7 Seconds. I did the first episode of Ash vs Evil Dead, which for me is it's a clear winner, I think. Well, yeah, I'll leave The Tick out of it. Ash vs Evil Dead, out of the stuff we did 1 episode of this week. I think
that's fair, because for me that basically just leaves Channel Zero, and so I'm gonna go ahead and choose The Flash because I've actually watched that early for once, and I know we haven't spoke about it yet, but
yeah, well, I watched Legends of Tomorrow already, and I fairly enjoyed that, but I'd probably still go with Ash vs Evil Dead.
Well, that's the thing, I didn't watch that, and Channel Zero was its weakest. It was fine, but it was its weakest episode. I feel like Flash. I probably enjoyed Flash more. So.
No, that's fair. So actually, it's kind of a weird time. Obviously, coming up, we do have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. back, so you can expect a review late Saturday, as per usual. Excited to have that back. Obviously, we like that show a lot. Obviously, Television from the Multiverse is every week. That's our DC Comics TV show podcast. And this week, we actually had the shows back because we had a couple of weeks there where a lot of them were off, so it was a lot of like retro content. We did just like Smallville episodes and Lois and Clark episodes. But this week we're back to having the full slate of all the new shows, so
yes,
you can look forward to that. And obviously next week, speaking of comic book TV shows, Jessica Jones season 2 is hitting, and we'll be working our way through that, covering that. That starts on Thursday. Expect the first review on Thursday. I will say some of the early reviews have not filled me with hope.
Oh, really? Okay. Because the I saw a couple, like like a week ago, that were relatively positive. I've not really looked into it any further though.
I saw a collection of blurbs, and the collection of blurbs were not super encouraging.
Okay. The reviews I've seen, like the two or three that I saw, were for literally just the first episode. Whereas, Netflix typically gives them the first five or six to review overall early. So
No, the
I've
reviews I
seen,
was looking at were definitely more than just the first episode.
yeah. That's the meaning.
Yeah.
Like the ones I saw were specifically just the first episode reviews, but I know Netflix does typically give the first half a season, so those will have been out since I looked. So yeah, maybe the first episode's stronger than it leads to believe.
Maybe, but I was seeing the words slog, I was seeing the words boring, I was seeing the words plodding.
Well, again, that is something you often don't feel in a first episode, as
Yeah.
we do mention that. So
I mean, you
okay,
can, but it's also quite common for it not to really kick in until you've had a few episodes to say,
because
hey,
you don't realize it until you're
yeah,
like four episodes in.
this is going nowhere fast yet. And we both think Jessica Jones Season 1 is the best of the Marvel Netflix shows, so this will be really disappointing if it ends up being
Yeah. Because
subpar.
I mean, it's
But
still Jessica Jones and then Daredevil season one are the high points easily.
yeah, I mean, I would go as far to say the first four episodes of Season 2 of Daredevil are even higher, perhaps, than those shows. However, after that episode, Season
Sure,
2
yeah.
tanks.
After that, I think everything's really uneasy. Like Luke Cage, I think the first half of Luke Cage is fantastic. The second half's just okay.
Because episode 4 of Daredevil Season 2 may be one of the best, maybe the best episode of any of these shows, but unfortunately after that, it cliff,
Yep, yep,
nosedive,
yep.
plummets.
And we didn't even finish Punisher.
We didn't even finish Punisher. So we'll see how that goes. But that starts next Thursday, so you can expect the first reviews to start there, and then we'll go from there and see how it goes. But hey, and otherwise, I think that's it. Yeah, and we will try. We haven't recorded the next Star Trek yet, but hopefully we can squeeze that in at the start of the week. So it might be. Well, I mean, admittedly, for the public it'll be fine because the last one is already on Patreon. But for the patrons who get the one a week early, it might be like a day later than normal. But we should squeeze it in come Monday, I'd imagine. But that is the news. So thank you once again for watching or listening. If you want to support the channel and the show, head over to patreon.com /MailFuzzTV. Links in the description. Like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. Let us know in the comments what you thought of any of the news items that came up, and otherwise that is us. So so quicker. Although it ended up being slightly longer than last week, so it wasn't as short. Although tidbit here, we had like 3 last-minute additions right at the end. Before that, it was shorter than last week's. At least on paper, it could have still been equal or longer with discussion, but it was on paper. It was shorter.
We may have intentionally padded this out a touch with just random nonsense discussion here or there.
I don't think we did.
Maybe once or twice, just like
not more than usual,
just for the sake of it.
There was no
more than usual though. No, probably
so
not.
I don't think it was any intentional padding. But hey, that does. So thank you once again for watching or listening. I always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?